All right, I fucking figured it out. That was annoying as shit. So turns out I figured it out. Hello everyone. Hello everyone. I have figured it out, and the reason that things went poorly is because I tried to make the chat work. So basically for some reason, and you should be able to hear me now. Hi. Is I was like, "Oh, look, I don't have the chat in OBS because the way that YouTube chat works, in order to pull it in, I bring up. Oh, we can't hear you. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, you can't hear. We can hear. Okay, people can hear. For Onyx French King is just fucking me up. All right, heard. Everybody can hear me. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. The tech is absolutely no. So it's not your guys' fault. Basically, what happened was I was like, oh, I don't have the chat in, so I needed to go grab the chat URL, and I need to put it into the browser in OBS so that it would pop up the chat. So like for example, oh wait, I gotta reopen all my notes and stuff because I closed literally every program on my desktop trying to figure out like what was causing this. And it turns out it was an invisible web page that I couldn't see, that I had to manually mute through my system thing, and I'll figure out how to close that in a second. But OBS like opened a new invisible web page that then YouTube started blasting an advertisement through instead of just showing the chat. And then it started playing the live stream again rather than just showing the chat. So that was annoying. So basically, you guys are unfortunately not going to be on screen today, I don't think. Here, let me open up studio mode and see if I can. Let's see here. Where's this screen? Yeah, why is it doing that? Instead of just showing the chat, it's trying to show the whole thing. Here, let me try this. Okay, let me try this. And then we hit this button. There we go. Okay, you guys aren't gonna be able to see it yet, but now I can put this back and turn off studio mode. There you go. All right, sorry. So let's take this from the top. I'm gonna hit hold screen, and we're gonna pretend like no tech difficulties ever happened. All right. Oh my God! Hey guys, welcome to today's office hours. It's so crazy that I'm starting 7 minutes late and nothing. There was just a hold screen for the last 7 minutes. Hello everyone. Hello, Dirty Dice, Snow Puppy, Onyx French, and one Mr. 8, Vindrel, Underfeather, Shadow Dragon, Superintendent, still scrolling, Noah, who else is in here? I'm still scrolling, Lone Couriers, so many people, Samurai, Chuckmate, what's up, Chuck? Let's see. Wait, where did it suddenly skipped ahead? I already said no. Oh, it's Falcon. Hi, Falcon. Hi, how you doing? Yeah, it's such a great start. No tech issues have ever happened ever. So I'm actually gonna turn this down a little on my end. As you guys do, I love it when y'all respond. As you guys may have noticed, oh my God, Falcon! I already said you gotta wait for the Discord delay, Falcon. What's up, Gujang? How you doing? Basically, except for 5 simple steps to maximize profit, including 3. No, when we talk about economics, we'll get to that in a second. I want to first apologize if there's any other tech errors today. My CPU died last night, and I had to replace it last night. So a lot of my programs are running again for the first time on new hardware, which is annoying. Not Discord delay, but like OBS delay. Stop calling me on my stuff. I'm flustered. How dare you? What's up, Mr. Singer? Yeah, my CPU died. It was very unfortunate. Luckily, it's under warranty, so the temporary one that I've got swapped out with it will be going back to the other computer that I had it in, and I'll be getting a new one soon. Yeah, rip in pieces. And then I also want to apologize if you hear a fan hitting the microphone at any point in time today. It is supposed to be 100 degrees or 99 degrees here in Southern California today. And running my PC generally makes my room like several degrees hotter, though since I did new thermal paste last night, it seems like it's doing a lot better. Yeah. What about you guys? How's your guys' day going today? Yeah, it was a pretty easy swap. I gotta get all my notes back up because I closed all my notes trying to find that stupid frickin' tab. Sheets. What's up, chat? It is quite hot. Yeah. Work was chill. Now we coasting for the rest of the day. That goes crazy. Today's great for both your Unbeatable shirts came. Let's go, Izzy. That goes crazy. Let's see here. Overhead crocheting bags. Prep for local convention. That goes crazy. Decent day. What's up? Oh, hi, Lori. I didn't see you hop in. Yeah. I didn't realize the What's Up chat was you. Let's see here. What's up, bro? Cognito. Work done early. About to go to class. All right. That goes crazy. PC hot room with hot weather. Yup. I also have one of those ACs. It's actually hidden in that closet over there. I haven't pulled it out yet because it's March. Let's see here. Just started work, so chilling. Very boring till about 40 minutes ago. Valid. Oh yeah, because that's when we started hanging out. That makes sense. Huh. It's 60 and sunny. 60s go crazy. So some of you have already started to chat a little bit about the title of today's episode, which is economics. And we are going to talk a little bit about economics. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my notes, my very technical notes. That's the wrong button. That's, in fact, actually, it's supposed to be this button is what I was supposed to put. Today, we will be talking about such things as money, currency, bands and stacks, NFTs, crypto, stonks, going to the moon, GameStop, Kalshi, Polymarket. What other bullshit can I throw out there? What other garbage can be there? No, okay, so when we talk about economics, it's actually a lot simpler. Let's see here. Wait, Porygon, crypto farms, Polkadollar, take it or leave it. Yeah, so we are going to talk a little bit about math today, unfortunately, because one of the things that has been brought up to me many times is that the economy for the UB system, since it's vaguely based off the Pokemon economy, doesn't make any sense for a tabletop game. And basically, do you think more people would watch the stream if I changed it from economy to earn in bands? If I went down to stream settings and here, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pull up my stream settings. Let's see here. Edit. Stacks on stacks. Can I change it on YouTube afterward? Here we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Now it's not economics anymore. Stacks on stacks. That's what it'll be. The blades in the dark stuff, coins, bag, chest, slightly abstract it. No, I think we aren't going to abstract it. I think it really is, honestly, for most people, easier to just do a number, especially because this is such like an item-based economy. There are a few rules that definitely will need to be adjusted going forward, and there are already ones that I've been talking to members of the community about regarding like changing how items work, because oftentimes we're talking about how items really don't get used in game. And like what items should be usable in game, sort of like what should things look like. Yeah. So that's sort of the vibe. But I think one of the main reasons that people aren't using items in the game, and so Lori, for example, and Vindrel were both in this conversation. One of the reasons that we don't use items in the game is because most people just don't have money. And that comes from a variety of different things. It comes from people not doing 1v1 battles and not earning money. It comes from GMs not remembering to give and reward money. It comes from players not necessarily being motivated by money. So there is sort of an onus on me to like make a better economic system if I'm passing it off to you guys. Luckily, even if the onus was on me, I received something that is very helpful from a community member recently. I'm halfway through the most recent episode. My roommate hasn't listened to it yet. I'm crazy. I can't talk to anyone about it. I'm so sorry. But I received something very helpful. There is a member of our community by the name of Nikki who sent me, this is not the right thing. There we go. This thing, which is a revised economy for UB, which has way more sensible prices for the items than anything I've done. And I've already told Nikki that I'm basically going to be adopting her economy going forward in the next update. And just a lot of these numbers make a lot more sense, which gives us a really good starting point for the economy. There's definitely some things that I want to tweak that Nikki was not aware of when, you know, she made this. For example, I have some item changes that I want to do to make them more usable during combat, which then means that, like, their value changes a little bit. But Nikki did so much fucking work, and I want to shout out Nikki so incredibly hard. Yeah, let's see. A great part of Pokemon games economy comes from just finding something worth like 10k in a random bush. In the games, yeah, that's the important part, is the games. I think, honestly, I think really something that I want to look at a little bit more is probably more the D&D style money model, even if their system isn't great, which is the idea that, like, oh, there is a currency, you spend that currency on things, and the players can change their experience in-game using that currency. Whereas, like, in Pokemon, it's like, well, I'm going to spam, you know, heals for 20 turns or whatever. Opposite problem where players have way too much money. Well, that's the other thing, Singers. They have to want to spend it, is the thing. You only believe in the Bokopia economy? Thanks, Nikki. Yep, no, that's the correct spelling. Yeah. Yeah, see, Electrum, that's a currency. Yeah, we're just talking about, like, just a standard, you know, Poké Dollar. Attack, full restore, attack, that sort of thing. It's the thing where I realized that in Unbeatable, I don't think a player has ever used a potion during a fight. Ever. And I think that is a failing on the part of the game design of UB, if also a little bit because I was trying to emulate the video game design, and that just isn't working. Yeah, so I don't think that's the case. So I think there are a couple things I want to change. But we're not going to be talking about the changes to, like, in-game items. For now, I want to talk about, like, economics and money, because ultimately determining how your players have money is more important right now than determining necessarily everything that they're spending it on exact costs. Well, Lori, it's because you guys are some of the most... First of all, I would toss Vindrel and Metal Spider both on that list as well, Lori. But it's because you guys talk about things that are more complex issues that I want to discuss as we sort of, like, build things. Yeah. Yeah, is really the thing. Had a couple use Berry Potion last night during a gym battle. That goes crazy, and I feel like that's very rare. So there are already some other mechanical things that we've been talking about in the Discord, which, by the way, if you want to get in on the discussion, our Discord has been popping off the last couple days with, like, rules discussions, because everybody is sort of aware that version 7, the next version, will be the last update that we do. So everybody's really trying to get the things that are important to them across. Yeah, so let's see here. They got to have money, otherwise why think about what they buy? Yeah, also where I just find it funny. Yep. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a great time to join us talking. And more ideas is good. TBH using a potion during a gym battle. I think a gym leader would look at you and flip through the league rulebook. So that, Underfeather, that is unfortunately a thing that is talkable. Is in at least the lore of UB, definitely was like, oh yeah, no, why would they allow, like, items in the game? And it's like, oh, that sucks. That's unfortunate, because that does cut off an entire economy of the game from being used in the most important battles in most people's campaign. No, Falcon, we're not talking about that. That's not the discussion right now. Let's see here. Airbud rules. Show me where it says I can't. Well, Underfeather, currently, in UBC, the podcast, it currently says it. Hey, what's up, Metal Spider? We're just chatting about, like, stuff. Random. Let's see here. Angelo, it's pretty much version 7 basically isn't going to get released. Version 1 is really what's going to get released, but version 7 is the next sequential order. And there will be one more beta period between version 1 and version 1.1, but there will be ideally no major changes between version 1 and 1.1. 1.1 will be about spelling mistakes, logic errors, grammatical errors, etc. Surprise super potion when 8 wounds. High metal, we're talking about fat sticks. Get a recommended trainer item. Have a recommended trainer item limit in a battle, I suppose. That could be interesting. Let's see here. But today, we're going to be talking about how to earn money, not necessarily what they're going to be spending it on yet. The spending it on is its own conversation that I want to do after I've deep dived to Nikki's economy. Some things that I just talking to people in the Discord sort of came up was that most tables are not doing 1v1 battles. Because it's a tabletop game, so rarely do all of your players want to sit down and wait while one player battles another NPC trainer, and they're just sitting there the whole time. I tried to bridge that gap with the cheer rules, with the cheer point rules, but it definitely is like most people are not doing 1v1 battles. Most people are doing group battles. Falcon, I'm gonna ban you from chat. We're not even chatting about any of that. We're working on a very specific thing. Let's see here. Aside from 1v1 battles and rare 1v1 NPC occasions, mainly group battles. Yeah. So that's already something that I want to talk about, which is the fact that most things are group battles, which means that we're gonna look at more of like a group income horde system. Oh no, one of my lights just went out. That's unfortunate. Let me start to charge it. I forgot to plug it in. So I also filmed a few days ago at a friend's house. And unfortunately, that means that I moved all of my equipment to another house. And I then had to bring it back, which means that everything is sort of still kind of unplugged. Everybody's fighting me. And as part of plugging that in, it accidentally just unplugged the fan. So give me a moment. Guys, I'm so put together today. Oh my god, the 30 seconds the fan was off, my room got stifling. That was crazy. 1v1 really feels stagnant, especially for gym battles. Dark type Aaron, even... Let's see here. No, I don't need a vacation. I need to get to work is what I need to do. I'm not going to say it, Falcon. Why would I say that out loud? Let's see here. Scream. Homie, I'm good. No, I'm not good. I'm working hard. I'm making all this go. All aboard the Struggle Express. So basically, we want to talk about more of like a group income, sort of like how it's like, oh, in Dungeons and Dragons, because Dungeons and Dragons is going to be my main touch point for a lot of this. Because I even if they don't give a good enough advice for their money, I think that overall the gold system is like good, single currency. You get money. You then also maybe get some items. You get these things. You can spend it how you like. So I like the idea of like group earns X, then divide among players sort of vibe. Let's see here. 1v1 with one money each random encounter possibly work. Yeah, as a random encounter, there's a lot of trainers in the game that only have one Pokemon even strong. I mean, it's true. Send this man to the Arctic. What about Electrum? I will kill myself if we try to put Electrum coins in here. Some of the stuff that I want to talk about is rations, medicine, and other goals, because even though I don't want us to necessarily get into the specifics of like, oh, this is why this medicine will be more valuable in the future of this. One of the rules coming back is rations. I really wanted it in the original versions. It got sort of dropped because we didn't use it in the podcast. But I missed it, and I think it's really good. So I think rations are definitely on their way back. I've actually started writing some rules out. It's very simple. Let me see here. Size rations. Basically, it's you spend money based off the size of your Pokemon. And if we get to size, it's like, okay, a small Pokemon needs 1 ration to rest, a medium one needs 1, a large one needs 2, a huge one needs 4, and a massive one needs 8. This is going to limit players earlier in on how big their Pokemon can be, which ultimately is kind of important because that means you're going to get less early game evolutions because a lot of Pokemon get bigger when they evolve. Obviously, there are exceptions to every rule, and there are ways to do this very cheaply. Say if you're a ghost specialist, you just don't have to worry about the ration rule. That's part of playing ghosts, you know? ID dream battles. So deposit money, take it out. Explains how you get more money after defeating. I mean, hey, that goes crazy. They do get left behind, Falcon, but ultimately, I think they are a good balance here. There are certain items, EXP candies, I don't let my players buy. I also agree, Spider. I agree. And in Nikki's economy, which I've already said is going to be the starting point for a lot of this, they don't have prices. Because I agree. I agree that you shouldn't let them buy it. That's part of the decisions that were going on. Kind of gives alphas a disadvantage and pygmy advantage. It does. It does. It does. It needs to be checked on evolutions in some fashion. Vindril, there are a couple of different checks on evolutions that have been played with, that we've been playing around. Definitely a deep discussion to jump into. But yeah, rations are important in all games that require parties. Yeah, I fully agree. I think that rations are at least a start, because then you're not getting a Blastoise at rank 1 when you can't afford it, sort of vibe. Because it immediately doubles the cost of your Pokemon. And ultimately, that's one of the reasons why I want to figure out the economy, because things like rations are only doable if your players are earning money. You can't do ration rules if they're not actively earning money. Amulet coin is just not an item right now. See, the thing is like, there are things that make sense in the video game, A, from video game logic, and B, from just like mechanics, that just don't make sense in UB. This is a tabletop game. The amulet coin is busted and shouldn't exist. Lucky egg just shouldn't exist in this. Let's see here. I feel like rations are one of those things that feel as a divisive in any game. I just feel like there are a few real ways to make it feel good, especially in a region like Kanto, too dense. True. Have you considered adding findable items to offset the lack of 1v1s? Broken Pokeball, empty potion bottle, and get X amount of money when you turn it in. Danny, that is one of the things that we want to talk about. So I'll even toss it in there, but one of the things I have in here is payment for non-battles. Getting money outside of battle is on here. Tents and camping gear for the road between cities. That's also already on the list. Let's see here. Unless you're really out of the world, but how often does that happen in UV games? It depends on the campaign, and I can't control what campaigns do. I can only control the tools I give GMs and the suggestions I make. Making your Poffins to save on rations and Pokeblocks to save on Poffins. Yeah. Yeah, Underfeather, that's a solid system. Whole reason I've been letting... Yeah, Onyx is because they don't have money, so how would they pay for rations? Playing in a crunchy 5e game right now and having to make decisions based on rations has been great. That's true. How things like berries, etc., factor into rations. Honestly, I haven't gotten that far. Berries are something that already need a little bit of a redesign, both in, I think, nerfing them a little bit, upping their cost a little bit, and changing some stuff around on them, because I think right now berries are just objectively better than medicine. But saying that a berry is like a half ration kind of goes crazy. Let's see, it's good to make a Pokemon CPA. Let's go. Rations, equipment, players, metabolism, encounters. Sounds like OSR Hexcrawl. Exactly. And we don't want to go too deep into all these Squizzics, but I think that creating a framework that at least takes them into account is really important for the game, I think, in the overall health of the game. Makes sense to me that if you size up the region where it takes multiple days to get to City, but that opens up a can of worms of making it feel fun. Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true. Maybe if craftable items or foods can be sold at local vendors in the street for profit. Seen a lot of Pokefix use rangers as a source of money, with them recruiting trainers to help solve problems and beg for it. That's hey, listen, we're cooking right now. Let's see here. Rations do make things confusing. It seems like it'd be optional. How can it be optional if it helps the economic balance? That's why it shouldn't be optional. Rations seem like a really like, oh, that's an unfun mechanic. But ultimately, something like a ration that balances how often your characters can rest, how often they can evolve their Pokemon, how much money they have in their pocket. It regulates everything else. It's not a sexy mechanic, but there are so many things that you can have so much more fun with and create so many more decisions with if you have something like rations around in your game. Yeah, so that's the other thing, is one of the other nerfs with berries is their price changing, which is Nikki's made some adjustments to, which I agree with. And we are talking about individual items. I think raising the price of EXP candies entire. I don't think so. Asahi, if that is your name, I apologize if I fucked that up. We already mentioned that EXP candies just aren't going to have a price on them. They are going to be considered reward items to players in the new economy. Let's see here. Payment outside of battles and play jobs, which is kind of fun. Get money on his program. That's interesting. I agree, Falcon. Rations would be better if they weren't type spec'd. Interesting, Vindril. We'll chat about it. That'll be a conversation. Good argument that Pokemon Gen 1 is OSR game. And I think it makes sense. You got to manage system, encourage players in a certain way. Rations do help how far out of town a party can get, which can be nice. That's true. I feel like if there is such a disadvantage to larger mons, then there should be an advantage as well, since a die roll determines size. That's true. You know what, Shadow? That's a great point to bring up. That's a fantastic point to bring up. I think ultimately, right now, the biggest advantage and disadvantage is most of the bigger Pokemon are the stronger Pokemon. But yeah, I think that there's definitely something to talk about there. Friction is an important game mechanic. Do I buy this fancy item or starve for a week? Snow Puppy, that's another thing, is I want there to be choices. One of the things that people have been talking about a lot in UB when it comes to like the build of your character. So this includes your archetype, your Pokemon, their items, their moves. Is they talk a lot about it as though they should be able to just build whatever Pokemon build that exists in the VGC, in anything else, and just sort of be able to swap things in and out. Like this is what's the name of that like competitive simulator that everybody uses? But ultimately, I think the more important thing to Unbeatable is that this is the journey of a person getting to the point where they are a competitive battler. And I think that getting something like a held item for your Pokemon should be like getting a magic item in Dungeons and Dragons. It should not be let me just pick up this, which I am guilty of in the UBC podcast. I just gave everybody Mystic Waters because I went, oh, that's so interesting. Terrible idea. Completely unbalanced the game mechanics because I didn't care about money and I just let them pick stuff up. And I think that ultimately the players, and I hate to say it like this, will appreciate their items and character options more if you have a more robust, more strict economy. Unbeatable isn't Showdown. Showdown is exactly what it is. Yeah, Pokemon size does give you narrative permission to do a lot of things. Let's see. I've used a version of the Titan Hunter class set up to allow us to unlock buffs for big Pokemon in battle. That's true. Non-type spec rations to agree. All cat Pokemon should be able to eat cat food. Not even the discussion. Not even the discussion. That's why I'm not even a little bit the discussion. Falcon, I appreciate your opinion. Not even a little bit what the discussion is about. During the V3 or 4, before the price increase, all my players bought one of each type boosted. Yeah, exactly, Spider. So it's that thing of like you understand how fucked those things are. And I don't really think players should have access to them before the like 3rd or 4th badge. Genuinely. I think held items should be a rare thing. They should be treated like that. So that's one of the things thinking about with the economy is like when we talk about players need to afford other goals, I wrote goals here because I think goals include a lot of things. I think goals include adopted Pokemon, right? I think goals include big team members like Gyarados, like Charizard, bigger things. I think goals include held items. I think goals include TMs, right? Like you want all these things, but I think that that's part of the system is the money. God, I remember one time it was for $300. That was terrifying. Yep. Now I'm going to tell my professor that any cat food I have will be eating cat food. No, I didn't say that, Sassy. Falcon said that. I never agreed with them. Let's see here. Things like Mystic Water and Sharp Beaks and things like that are found as items picked up in the wild or given by people that might have. Exactly. That's the other thing is using them as rewards. I got to go to class now, but I think the ration kind of should not work well if you're starting DMing short campaigns. Yeah, Snow Puppy. That's a whole thing. That's a whole conversation. Anyway, have fun in class. Onyx says, should rations and Poke Food have a limited shelf life? No, that is OSR. That is getting deep into the mechanics of the game. This is all just supposed to be a check on resting, on economy, on Pokemon size. This is not a check on, guys, I've had this for exactly 31 days, and Princess, I'm thinking we're having expired fire-type food tonight. Like, no, I think that that's not the purpose of this mechanic. The purpose isn't to make your players pay taxes. It's to limit them in specific ways. Let's see here. Part of how easy it is to punch up is to be able to buy held items early. GM gave us, like, no starting money, and we have to ration our money. Exactly. I made TMs more expensive and only available after badge 4. Gym rewards are TRs. One-time uses, they don't boost the entire party. I actually also, Metal Spider, I actually also agree. I think TRs should just be at a different price range. Yeah. Pickup ability will replace the broken economy. I mean, hey, Vindra and I started every single TM into a badge category as well. Hey, Spider, pass that shit. Pass that shit. Pass that shit. Send it to me. Send it to me. Let's see here. Make your players pay your taxes for an in-game reward. Hey, that goes crazy. It also helps to avoid players from using all their money to get one item to blitz battles. Needing to ration money helps limit it. Expired fire-type food. Yum, my favorite. Yeah. No, Spider, send it to me. I will definitely look it over when we start talking about like TMs and TRs and rebuilding the economy, because I think Nikki gave me a really good base, but I do have some things I do want to change. I mean, just, yeah, it goes crazy. So, but we do need to keep that in mind of like what the general prices of these different things are. You know, I think that's important. So we also want to talk about like payment for non-battles, right? Or like sponsorships, treasure tables. So first, let's look at some like basic costs. Going back to the current economy, I currently have, let's see here, Pokemon food at like 100 to 200 a day. I will probably uniformly fix whatever the price is. We had like fun little changes. I think it'll probably be uniform. Let's see. How does Nikki handle food? Item name. Here we go. Oh, Nikki is not uniform with it at all either. Interesting. But I think I will probably move it to be uniform. But they're going 50, 60, and their economy is a little bit more thought out than mine, where they're using the hamburger index, which I don't know if you guys can see up here. But I think that that's a good sort of starting point, right? Is like looking at like, okay, well, let's think about rations for a second. So we're assuming that the average trainer is starter is one small/medium Pokemon, right? So starting out with equal to 1 ration per day. So that's sort of the thought process that we're having. Yeah, so Singer, we'll talk about sponsorships in a little bit, but yeah, I agree. I think sponsorships are their own kind of rewards that's drawn out. Hamburger index is the idea of basing items off of the cost of a hamburger. And it's a really good idea. And basically it just sets an economic price point for where all of the rest of your items are going to be. Do we have to track/catch bounties? Y'all, Betros, we are not even near that conversation yet. We are not even a little bit. We're talking about base economy right now. You guys are jumping off. Big companies like Bosco give you actual money. Economy is based on hamburgers. Let's see. Will trainers also need rations, or is it just the Pokemon? Trainers probably will need rations. Human food will probably need its own thing, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah. Got to establish what it feels like, what a healthier income looks like. Yeah. So we're assuming that the trainer starts with 1 small to medium Pokemon with 1 ration per day. It's just sort of the assumption, which means that each day it's costing them, if we stick with, you know, Nikki's idea, 60 Poke a day, right? And then if you give it a week, that's 350 P a week, right? Per 1 small to medium Pokemon. One of the other rules that I've started typing with is Pokemon. Let me scroll up. Where's it at? Pokemon Natures. Oh, is it down? It's down, isn't it? Targeting types. Where the fuck? Oh, that's in a different... Okay, it's in a different document. Give me a second. I gotta open it up on a different page, so that way you guys don't see all of my different documents. What was I just looking for? Wait. Or actually, wait, is it in this? It is? I think it might be in this one. Oh, it is in this one. I'm stupid. Okay, so one of the other mechanics that we've been talking about is like Pokemon storage of like... Because I think... So one of the things where we're sort of going a little bit harder into is the carry limit, which is the amount of Pokemon they can carry at a time. This is an optional rule. This one is not mandatory, but I'm going to use it as the base for the economy as the assumption. So the carry limit assumes that they can carry their training limit plus 1. So they have their starter, and then they have their second capture. Generally speaking, also 1 small to medium Pokemon, which means that now we're sitting at 700 P a week for 2 Pokemon at level 0 when you're walking around. With having carry limits and everything, there's also rules for Pokemon storage, where basically the idea, and this I don't think should be optional, but I know a lot of people are going to hand wave this rule, is there's a maximum amount of Pokemon that wherever you are sending your Pokemon will hold for you. This place does not require resources, does not require companion points, does not require rations once you send your Pokemon there, but there is a maximum amount that you can do. So at level 0, you can have 3 Pokemon in storage. If your storage is full and your party is full, you just cannot catch more Pokemon. Guys, my math is wrong. I wasn't paying attention. Is that not? Is 350? No, that's times 5. Guys, I'm so smart. I'm so smart. Guys, I'm so smart. Thank you for telling me my math was wrong. Let's see here. Maybe base food is cheaper and covers math be wrong. Okay. Let's see. Another discussion for today. Was there a punishment they don't feed the Pokemon? Yes, actually, there is. There is. I want to talk about this. It's almost all. Let's see here. So the rations. If Pokemon goes a day without consuming enough rations, it loses 2 wounds. It cannot heal or regain those wounds without resting. If players neglect their Pokemon and allow them to starve, players should offer in-game consequences from responsible parties, such as like Pokemon professors in the league, potentially including the confiscation of that Pokemon. Yes, there's absolutely consequences. Which one of the reasons why they have to be able to have the money to do the thing, because it'd be unfair to implement consequences without implementing rewards. Let's see here. What is the trainer rations? Is there a way to scrounge for rations? What about the trainer's rations? And is there a way? So, again, this is not necessarily a discussion about the rations themselves. But yes, the trainer rations will probably be priced lesser than the Pokemon rations, because Pokemon rations, they have to be like nutrient rich. They have to like be certain density. There's probably more of them. 5 times 6, that'd be 300 even. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk. No, it was 5 times 7. Was the thing. It was 60 times 7, but I accidentally did it as 50 times 7. Let's see here. Gotta go to work. Bye, Falcon. Let's see here. But yeah, so generally speaking, they're probably going to be priced a little bit less. So let's even include the trainer in this cost. Trainer, which is 1 medium human, which would be 1 human food per day, equal to, we'll cut the price in half. We'll say 30p, which is equal to 210p per week, which means that our running cost total is 1,000 and how can I not do math? 50 p. Right? Am I doing the math here? Let's see here. Talk to the owner. I can't believe no one's brought up the 401k. This is a joke. Thank you, Phoebe. Luxury rations to give friendship cost more. Vasco saw 401k match. Yep. 401ks don't exist. That's why Agatha and Francis don't rock in the job. Yeah, that's really funny. You're not a medium. Lori, we're gonna leave it be for now. We're just assuming. You know what? If it makes you feel better, 1 human. We're just going to assume that there is a base template that does not vary too much on the amount of nutritional intake different trainers need, because this system is not that granular. It's granular. It's not that granular. Let's see here. I just got here. We size waits for travel now. No, Pines, we're talking about the economy and money and how much it costs to run a Pokemon team, and how much money you have to earn to upkeep that Pokemon team. This community is collectively ADHD, where everyone hyperfixates on the trees instead of forest. Frost, it drives me insane. It drives me insane. Hiker eats the same as a preschooler. Well, first of all, based on the onus of the game, there is no preschooler class. Yeah. Oh no, Pines, it's worse. The original name of this episode was economics, and then people made me change it. Oh, sorry, I needed a drink. I'm talking a whole lot. Okay. So we're assuming that at level 1, we want them to be earning at least, like, so we talk about, like, we want them to have, you know, this to be able to feed their little team, right, that they've got. And here I'm looking at my 2 king-size Pokemon. And that's the thing, Sassy, is what we're talking about is, like, maybe having a king size is not necessarily the best thing in the world for your wallet. I hate to tell you, preschool is indeed a trainer class in this game. Not in the official release, it's not. Get the fuck out of here, Lori. It is not in the official release. Let's see. Bigger Pokemon carry more food for their bigger selves. Now, honestly, Pines, that's a good logic way to look at it. Let's see here. So we want them to earn at least the 1050 they need to feed themselves and their 2 Pokemon at level... Oh, sorry. Level 0. And then... Ugh. Oh, my goodness. Jumping around the page. Okay. And then we also want them to have some sort of profit, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then we also want them to have... I mean, that's kind of it. We also want them to have profit as well. So then the question is... wait, no. Sorry. Profit is included for them to do their goal stuff. So we want them to be able to build towards whatever they want to add to their team, whether it be exotic Pokemon, Apex members, held items, TMs. But then we also want to talk about medicine as well. So if we're comparing the meal plan of a week for your entire team, which is 1050, right? 1050 Poke. Then medicine, let's see where Nikki's at. Let's peek at somebody else's homework. Guys, I hate to say it, Nikki's cooking. Nikki's cooking. This is exactly where I was thinking. So I was thinking a potion should be about a little bit more than a day's food. It's an expensive piece of medicine. What about League Alliance signing bonuses? League gives every Pokemon X amount of money. Soda Music, I think that's probably here in the sponsorship section where we talk about private sponsorships versus league sponsorships. And we'll talk about that in a little bit because y'all keep looking at trees. I can't spell. There we go. I don't know how this became back to work, but better. It's true. It's true. But we also want to bring in medicine. So medicine is another thing to look at. So looking at medicine, we don't want potions to be the most used thing in the world. And they're going to be probably provided with potions pretty early on. But potions, I'm going to tell you right now, healing items like potions are going to get a little bit more of a power increase as well in the new version of the game because they're going to be more usable. Some of the battle mechanics that I've been looking at changing, definitely, I mean, there have been some really good arguments made over the last couple days by several different members of the community about changing the way combat works a little bit in terms of damage calculation, health, and similar things. So potions will be more usable in version 7 than they are now. And basically, with potions, I want them to be pretty like I want it to cost something when you use a potion. I don't want it to be Matt in the current arc of Unbeatable with his Lepa Berries, Revives, and Super Potions, where he's just dumping them down the throats of his Pokemon. What's up, Courtney Ashley? Yeah, we're talking about economics a little bit because we're devising sort of how much money people should earn and where they should earn it in an Unbeatable game. So we talk about medicine, like potions should cost something. It should be a debate as to whether or not you're going to heal up mid-fight, right? Yeah, it's sort of the thought. So currently, Nikki's got them at 100, and I think that's a good starting point. I think that's a 10th of your weekly budget. I think that's a really good place. So if we think about it, it's like a responsible trainer who just is starting out, needing to heal your Pokemon like more than like 3 times, I think, a week is probably a lot. So I think medicine, if we talk about like 3 potions or like 2 potions and let's say a like paralyze heal or up an antidote, I think 300 is a good place to look at for what they should be earning weekly, right? So then let's look at that. It's like, okay, so in a week we need to spend 300 on medicine, 1050 on food. Then our last big cost is goals, adopted Pokemon, big teams, savings, things that we're setting aside. And this is where you can either get more medicine or you can save it up for bigger things. TMs cost more than TRs due to reusable factor. Yep. This is true. This is true, Underfeather. It should still cost nothing to heal at a Pokemon Center. A 10th of the daily. Weekly is 7,000. No. So this, guys, this is already weekly. This is the weekly. Daily per Pokemon is 60. Daily, so daily per Pokemon is 60 right now. So that would be, that means your daily is 150 total. Wait, so this would be 1,500. Am I stupid? Did I do math wrong? Wait a second. Wait a second. Let me do math again. So 60p a day times 7 is 42 times 2 is 840 plus the 210. No, I'm right. No, I'm right. I'm good. I had to think about it. A week isn't 10 days. It's 7 days. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No. I was right. I nailed it. I was so good. Where the takeaway is slow, reduce passive healing over time that currently exists. Make medicine worth it. Lori, that is part of the reason rations are existing. So we talk about rations fix a lot of issues in this game. Pokemon require food to live, with the exception of Ghost-type Pokemon. Each Pokemon can eat rations for their appropriate type to live, found in the item's appendix. To rest, a Pokemon must consume a number of rations appropriate to their size category. So they will not be able to rest without eating food, which I think one of the other things this does is it also limits the amount of rest abuse that you're gonna see with Pokemon, because they need to spend something every time they rest, which I think is another big issue with resting right now when it comes to the game. So I think this is, once again, why rations should not be an optional mechanic in your campaign. Is sort of the vibe. Is like that's the passive healing, is like rations are the passive healing. They are the passive healing item that allow you to rest. So if we talk about goals, right? Let's see. I've been against rations in the past, but I think you just told me that. There you go. See, it's like that's what it is. It gets rid of like rest abuse. So I think, so really, if you want to think about it like that, rations are passive healing items, is what they are here. They let you rest in this game. So we talk about profit though. So the profit is here. We're actually going to retitle this. It's not going to be profit. It's going to be saving up, or you know what? Big purchases. And I think, let's see here. So just to round this off to like a pretty even number, 350. So we talk big purchases. You know what? Actually, let's bump this up a little bit to give people wiggle room with their teams to 1,200. Give them an extra 150 a week just to have wiggle room in case they have some slightly bigger Pokemon. And then bigger purchases, we'll put that at 500. So that means a level 1 trainer ideally should earn 2K a week. Or a level 0 trainer in battles, which I think that's an easy reward to start getting towards. Because when you talk at the low end, right, it's like, okay, that means that depending on the pace of my campaign, how many relevant events are happening each week. Because it's like, if you think about like the like relevant sort of like things that are happening in a game, so 800 plus, so that equals 2K per the week. Let's see, I'm thinking episodes where it starts to Ash feeling hungry. That's what I'm saying. So how many relevants are happening per week? This includes trainer battles. So this is gyms, villains, rivals, payable plot events, random. Actually, I don't want to include something here. There's something that I want to talk about later that I don't want to include on this list. Payable plot events. So this is like helping rangers. This is like what's it called? Defeating wild Pokemon. This is sort of like that sort of vibe, or like surveying something spooky. You know, like going out and like doing like a mission of some kind. Like missions basically is the vibe. And you look at the amount of events that you're supposed to have each week, right? Let's see. Now I want to see a character that's just a trainer account and has a Pokemon with payday. Valid. And I think generally speaking, over the course of the pacing of the early game of Unbeatable, if you are having one of these things on every day of adventure, that is insane. That is a crazy thing to do. I think generally it should be probably every other day. So we're going to assume that there are 3.5 events each week, because I think that's a good starting spot. I think every other day is a good sort of pacing thing of like, oh, we had an encounter with a rival. 2 days later, we went to the gym and battled trainers there. We battled the trainers there. I took a couple days of training, and then I battled the gym leader, right? So, Underfeather, I want to talk about that. Actually. Because defeating wild Pokemon, money might not be straight currency. This is where we get the pickup items. The berries, stones, even like discarded potions, that sort of thing. The wild, the random items you run into in a Pokemon game, this is where they go. If you defeat wild Pokemon, that thing has a nest. That thing maybe shows you where something is. Like Stardust, right? Yeah, that's another good one. That's where these treasure items is really, so actually, that's actually a way better idea. Treasure items, gold nuggets, you know? That's where you put those items. Treasure rewards is where they go. Shards is another great one. Shards, mushrooms, right? This is the equivalent of like looting a corpse in D&D, but it's, oh, I defeated this wild Pokemon, I'm gonna take some of its mushrooms. That's sort of where you use those items so you can give them money while still being thematically tied to the economy of the game. And they could sell those things at Pokemarts, at like Pokemon centers, for the standard exchange rate, which we would be talking about in the economy. So that's another one of the things, is I do want to have like a standard sell rate for the players. A town hiring the party to stop a rogue Pokemon. But that, I mean, so we talk about stopping rogue Pokemon. That's here. Rogue Pokemon, right? Like that's what this is. That's quests. That's here. And that's sort of like where they should be earning it. So when we talk about these things, and I want to clarify as well with these treasure items, this is not random tables. These are the ones that you're choosing to give the players. These are, what's it called? These are purposeful rewards. Purposeful rewards that are factored into the money that they need to be earning. Let's see here. Time to farm the Slowpoke area for Slowpoke cells. No, we're not doing that. That's fucked up. But that's the idea. So like when we talk about, you know, earning money for these things, if we're saying 3.5 days, so let's do the math on this real quick. We want them to earn $2,000 a week, and we're saying 3.5 events per day. That's equal to, I'm not going to do the math. I'm not a computer scientist. 2,000 divided by 3.5. So that's 570 per event, per trainer, per event, per trainer, per week. So per week. Okay, I just need the per week. How would items like luck, incense affect items? It wouldn't. So Courtney, one of the big things that I wanna clarify as well. I said a little bit earlier, but I know some people are joining in. I think that items like the incense, like the luck incense, the lucky egg, the amulet coin, anything that affects rewards in games are innately unfair and busted in a tabletop game. They work in a single player Pokemon game. They don't work in a tabletop game. It's the thing of like it's just too abusable. It sets one player up way more than other players. Yeah, Underfeather. That's a great series of options. Bulbapedia having held items that wild Pokemon could possibly have, right? So like this is another thing, is like maybe grabbing some held items. You know, that's a good call. But yeah, Courtney. So that's something that I really want to press. Is so many players come into this going, well, I have an amulet coin because it exists in the video game. I should be able to have it in the tabletop game. No. We're avoiding those here. But if we talk about, okay, so getting back to this, 570 per event per trainer. That is pretty good. And that's a really good basis at level 0. Now, obviously, we will need to scale this in a full table where we talk about, like, well, what's the average trainer going to have? Like, well, what about if I have, like, big alpha Pokemon? Making items so much more valuable. I wonder if there's a merit to removing random items on tables. So, no. This, Lori, there is merit to that, but I also want to bring up, this is another thing. I almost put this up earlier, if you'll remember, but I actually deleted it. Random item tables. The reason that these are important is because players will value them more. If you continue to put random item tables in your games, so say, for example, you go onto a route, it's a D6 table, right? So it's a D6 table, and the options are Pokemon fight, like, non-encounter, weather event, random item, and then, like, on the random item, there's, like, a D10 table. This money that's on these items should not be taken into account when calculating all of this. These are bonus things. These are things that your players will then go, we get extra stuff? That's why I think it's important. I think that the feeling of being a player and knowing the resources you're going to get and then suddenly getting something more, something better, is such a good feeling that I think GM should be building this into their games. Just because something exists in video games does not mean it needs to exist. Hey, what's up, Jotaro? We have gone deep. This is definitely one of those ones, Jotaro. You should, when we finish, go back and rewatch the rest of this VOD. Because there is a lot that has been going on. With how we're settling, like, the economy and stuff. Let's see here. I got ads. Oh, Spider sending me the thing earlier. Okay, actually, Spider, are you still in the chat? Vindril and Spider? Can I open up your spreadsheet and look at it real quick? Oh, yeah, no, definitely. I'm gonna go to the VOD and chop off the first, like, 7 minutes of this. That shouldn't be on the thing. Yeah. Let's see here. I'm gonna wait for you guys to catch up while I take a sip of water. Go for it? Okay. Alright. Remember to drink water, everybody. Okay. Oh, so you guys also adjusted prices. In Twisting Princess. Okay. Berries. Poke food. Okay. Potions. Hyper potion. Okay. So potions at 300. Okay. Lemonade. Premier Ball. Okay. Holy shit. Yeah. 17. This is, I think, much more correct for a TM. Let me see the TRs. Oh, these are also TMs. Okay. I think this is much more appropriate. I think this is very much the direction that they should be going. Yeah. Let's see here. TM. Hardstone. Let's see here. This goes, yeah. That goes crazy. Okay, I will definitely look into that more later, but I think that's a good start. Rewatch because you're distracted. Very important. Let's see here. Time to go to the start. Thank you, King. Freshwater / soda pop / lemonade heal trainers more than they do Pokemon. That's an interesting thought, Spider. That's interesting design space. That's very interesting. TRs aren't purchasable. They're for rewards. TMs also move for the team that never goes away. Oh, so you made all TMs into HMs? Interesting. That's a fantastic. Oh, no. I see what you're saying now. Never mind. As a shop fanatic DM, I desire the sheets. The sheets go crazy. But yeah, so that's sort of the idea, right? Is that, like, the way that the economy should work should be how much should a player be earning each week, right? And then when I start looking at the pace of the campaign, how many relevant events are we having? We're assuming, right? Like, all of this, what they're earning, assumes the standard 3.5 events a week, right? But, like, if you're playing a higher paced campaign, right? And you're like, listen, this isn't going to be a weekly campaign. I want them to earn this much money daily. Then the prices should just be affected by that. They should be multiplied. They should be changed. Ideally, as part of this, I'd like to do a base sort of like exponential thought where it's like, okay, let's do this same math that we did up here, but we're going to do it for a, like, what's it called? For a high-level trainer. So we talk about, okay, well, we're going to assume now my starter is a large Pokemon, right? Which my large Pokemon actually needs 2 rations a day. Because let's say like Blastoise, something similar. So 120. So now per week, what's 12 times 7, everybody? 12 times 7 is 84. So that's 800 and... Is that right? Yeah, that's right. 840p a week, right? We're going to assume we probably have... here, I want this all to be on one page so I can actually fucking see it. We're assuming the second capture is probably also large because most of those that get there, that's Pidgeot, that's Rattata, similar things. A large Pokemon that also needs 2 rations, right? Equal. And then my running total, 840p. So now my running total would be 1680p. We'll get to the trainer in a second. And this is just like the team that you have to carry around. Because remember, Pokemon storage, you don't have to pay for those. A TR is a technical record. Yeah, it's a one-time use TM. 840. So then we talk about like, okay, well, there's my third capture. And then the third capture, we're actually going to go the other direction. We're going to say on average, generally people will have a small Pokemon on their final team. That requires a ration a day, right? 1 ration per day. That's going to be 60. Right, which is going to prop us down to 420. We're going to assume that they've got probably at least 1 Gyarados-sized Pokemon. Third. Fourth. Which 1 Gyarados-sized Pokemon is, generally speaking, pretty fucking big. But I would assume possibly that while trainers are in the Pokemon Center for extended period of time. Yes, Spider. That's part of the thing is centers would give you at least 1 free rest a day is sort of the vibe that we're going with centers. So the idea is that if you're at a center, you get a free rest a day. The one. TRs or TMs for Pokemon boomers. That's true. Let's see here. Does ration cost include PC Pokemon? It does not. Dirty Dice, it does not. PC Pokemon are assumed taken care of, but that's also why there will now be a limit on the amount of Pokemon you can have in the PC that scales as you get stronger as a trainer. So let me pull this back up real quick. Sizes. So we're going to assume 1 huge size Pokemon that requires 4 rations. Four rations per day, which is going to bring us up to 240, which is going to bring us up to 1680. And I didn't add earlier the 420 to this, so that'll bring us up to 17, so 21. And then 21 plus 6080 is 2780. Right? Am I doing my math? Is anybody seeing that I'm fucking messing this up? One of my players happened to roll alpha size for her first. Pokemon has a goal of having a team of EXO only mons. She would have a hard time. That's part of the thing. Which is one of the reasons why we want to talk about potentially there being bonuses to getting an alpha Pokemon. But that's its own sort of, like, conversation. Staying in the big city, TM for a bit, gives you a nice shopping reward, cash influx. You're probably not paying for food. Yeah. Played original Pokemon Red in Japanese in 96. Can't play. I can't get any more Pokemon Boomer. Makes cities feel exciting. Gyarados doesn't eat food. They eat the whole box. That's true. 37. You're right. Wait. Yeah, you're right. 37. Thank you. And then we're just going to assume 2 more large-sized Pokemon, I think, is probably the correct call. 1 massive size is crazy. Let's see. How big is Gyarados? Let's see here. Well, if we want a Gyarados, we actually do need 1 massive-sized Pokemon. So we'll do 1 massive and one large. Let's see here. 5th, 6th. And remember, this scales across all trainers because, what's it called? The ones that are in the PC, people don't have to pay for. So even if you have a player who has 20 Pokemon and a player that has 6, they're technically paying the same amount because they have the same sort of limit. How big can a Pokemon get? The biggest size category is massive, which is just anything over 15 foot in a direction. Good evening, Demolition. How you doing? Yeah, 6 massive mons would be a lot of food each day. So massive would be 8. Large would be 2. Let me just copy this real quick. And then we'll delete that for a second. 480. 30. I got this. 17, 34 minus 40 is 3360. Boom. I'm so smart. Or am I stupid? Did I nail that? I think I nailed that. So that's, let's see here. 3360. Fuck yeah, I nailed that. Okay. So then clear 3360 plus 3780 is 7,140. 7,140p, which then if we add, I could have done this in a spreadsheet and it would have done it automatically for me. It's only now occurring to me, and that pisses me off so incredibly hard. Oh, I totally could have. I could have made this so much easier on myself by just opening a spreadsheet. And then 1 ration, 30, 210. So that puts me at 9. So 8190. 8190p. Let's see here. Realistically, can a character in the universe make that much money in a day? This is not per day. This is per week. If only you'd been here from the beginning, Jotaro. That's valid. 8190. Shadow! We're on the same fucking page. Let's go! That goes crazy. Okay, so that means that a level 10 trainer should be earning about 82,000 per week for food, which is, let's see here, so 8,200. Sorry, 8,200. Glutton for painter. That's why you forgot the sheet. Okay, 8,200 versus 2,000. So let's see, 2,000 divided by 8,200. That is about, that's the wrong direction. 8,200 divided by 2,000 is about 4.1% increase. So that's about a 4.1% increase. So we'll just call it a ×4 increase for everything. The reason I wanted to figure out what this number is because I want it to be scaling in terms of medicine, in terms of save up money as well. So we talk about like, oh no, I'm stupid. Rations is only 1,200. What am I doing? Let's see here. 1,200 divided by 8,200 is fucking, I went the wrong direction again, guys. You guys are watching me do bad math. 6.8 multiplier. Apologies, everybody. So we're just going to call it a ×7 multiplier, just to make it easy. Glutton for pain. When it comes to league-sponsored trainers, you're going to make the minimum month they get just enough to cover 2/3 of food expenses. It's probably going to be something similar, yeah. I mean, in the guide area. All math is fun math. That goes crazy. The reason I wanted to look at a ×7 multiplier is if we go up here, it's like, okay, well, then, where is it? Big purchases, instead of getting 500, they should be saving up 3,500 for big purchases. And then for medicine, instead of 300, they should be saving up 2,100 for medicine, right? This feels a little bit on the low side, but for now, let's just continue to ride it out. That means that per week, a level 10 trainer should be getting 82 plus 35 plus 21, 13K a week, which honestly, if I was making 13K a week, shit would go crazy. I mean, Lori, that's literally part of it. And I won't be releasing another Gym Doc 2. The gym rules will just be in version 7. That's part of it, is I want to put it all in one document. Let's see. Squizzix got to run back to work. Bye, Squizzix. Math question got skipped. Oh, Denny, did you have a math question? Let me scroll up. Sorry, I didn't see it. And that's an adding a mechanic for archetypes like Taylor that let them harvest from defeated mons. That's not a bad idea. You should definitely, Denny, put that in the submissions thread in our Discord, because that's a good idea. League trainers get per diem. Yeah, oh my god, yeah. So 13K a week is pretty good, honestly. Even if you just slightly upped that to 15K a week, It's like, actually, I don't want to do that yet. Let's look at 13K for a second. That's assuming you can pay for this really big team. It assumes that you can, like, you know, hey, what's up, collector? It assumes a lot, and like, I think that's a good number to sort of look at, because then it also, if you have players that like really want to do like the huge Pokemon, right? Because it costs so much more to do an entire team of like massive Pokemon, right? It's like, okay, well, if we wanted to do 8 rations times 6 per day times 7 per per week, right? So that's 336 rations a week times 60. It costs 20K to pay a team of massive Pokemon every week. You would need to get a sponsorship. You would need to get a sponsorship that would pay for that. And this is one of those things where I think that you can really use sponsorships, where like if a trainer wants to have a team of 6 massive Pokemon, that's where we talk about sponsorships. We talk about private sponsorships that would allow them to keep a team that's that big. And that then becomes a narrative goal, right? It's like, okay, I am now a trainer and my goal is I want to have a team of all Alpha Gyarados. Well, I need someone to help me pay for that, because on the income of a trainer, that just isn't happening, right? That just isn't a thing. Let's see here. So the rank 10 trainer gets more than 10 times the rank 0? Yeah. Yes. Correct. 100%. Money like that is because the Pokemon are getting bigger. The costs are getting bigger. It just makes sense. You said the amulet coin makes no sense, but we could adjust the payout and make it a majority party. Potentially. But ultimately, I don't believe in it, and I don't think that's where we should be focusing our energy. You use the massive Pokemon teams ad space for sponsors. It's true. At least from early seasons, brand new trainers getting 500 Poke, if they don't have enough, would allow them to get some food. And that's what I'm saying, is like the league would probably provide at least a little bit of money with Fosco painted on the sides. Leon became champion just to pay for his massive Charizard. I mean, again, that's sort of like one of the goals, right? Is like, okay, that then creates an actionable goal for your players outside of just, I want to be the very best, right? Because I want to be the very best is a good long-term, full campaign goal. But when we talk about the little day-to-day goals of a player going, oh shit, I really want to evolve my Magikarp, but I can't afford a Gyarados, then you as the GM have the ability to go, oh, well, I know how much more extra I need to pay you. Why don't we talk about something you can do in-game to get extra money? And I think that is a really good thought process, right? How do we feel about that, trainers? How do we like that idea? Let's see here. So 13p. So then 13p, we talk about 1300 divided by 3.5 events per week. Clear. So clear 13 divided by 3.5. It's going to be 3,700 per event. That goes crazy. Social media boost to get sponsors. Hey, that's an option, Dirty Dice. You can do a whole lot with a system that has an actual fleshed out economy. Let's see here. The other thing that I was actually thinking about is big events at the later levels. You should also not be necessarily doing these 3.5 events a week. I was actually thinking about that just now. You probably, honestly, one a week and just give them their lump sum in one event is probably the way to go, because when you get to the later like parts of the game, you're getting to the point where they can fly from city to city, right? For the most part, trainers will be able to teleport, they'll be able to fly, they'll be able to move faster from city to city. So travel is not going to take up much of their time. Training is probably going to take up more of their time as a resource, because they're going to be wanting to get their Pokemon to higher levels. I think ultimately lowering the amount of events that happen and stretching out the time scale of the campaign later is probably better. More valuable thing in game 2, yeah. Honestly, sounds like a great for narrative flow. This is one of the reasons, Pines, that I really wanted to figure this out, because I realized by not doing this, I was doing a disservice to the GMs who were trying to figure this out for their games. More tournament arcs. No, Chuck, don't do tournament arcs. Oh my God, they suck. Even Indigo, we're going to be cheating as a tournament arc when we get there eventually. Assuming all the players qualify when we get there, which I don't know that they all will. Tournament arcs are rough. They're very hard. Tournament arcs are extremely difficult. But that's sort of the thing. And honestly, I'm going to be so real. At level 10, I would probably buff this number. I would honestly probably bump it up to 15 to 20. Because I think at that point, they should be able to just buy things that they want. So we want to talk about this. I would honestly pop it up to 20K. And I would say, fuck it, 20K a week. Because that means if we look at prices that are more like what Metal Spider and what Nikki have talked about, the really expensive shit, that's 2 weeks, really, when it comes down to it, to get something that's really expensive. 2 weeks of training, it's like, okay, let me get a big root, let me get a choice band, let me get something. As opposed to, you know, when you get to the later games, something far worse. And that's, again, not including extra money that you as the GM want to give them to accelerate your game in any direction. One of the other things that people talk about, right, is that they want, it's like, well, I want my game to be in a shorter time span. Okay, give them more money for things. They can abuse rests more. They can have bigger Pokemon. They can get items faster. It's a easy flow controller on what your players can do. It also means that if you as a GM accidentally dump them way too much money, they have things that you can drain them for money and you can lower their income over following weeks. Which I think is important because there's, I mean, plenty of people, it's like, yeah, I accidentally gave them, 100,000 Poke in their first week. And now it's like, okay, so they just don't earn money for a little bit in terms of how much you're putting in front of them. And I think that dial on the overall campaign will help people quite a bit. No, Shroot, I have not confirmed shit. I'm saying when we get there, it will be difficult, regardless of if they got new characters or not. Tournament arc killed Johto. Do not do tournament arcs. Tournament arcs are hard. Pokemon Center's MVP are, yeah, they are MVP. Yeah, because that means you can spend a lot of that money that you would normally spend on your Pokemon resting, and you can put that towards your items. Yeah, I think that's a good sort of ending spot. And even with the 7-minute fuck up that we had at the beginning of the stream, which I think I'm trying to cut out of the VOD after this, remind myself. Yeah, I will say for anyone who's watching, if you are part of our Discord, I'm going to go hop into the Discord's voice chat for a little bit. And if anybody wants to discuss any of the rules that we've been talking about, I would love to do that. But thank you guys for joining me on today's Office Hour stream. Remember, we have another episode coming out this weekend. We have episode 17 of Infinite Collision on the Patreon, episode 14 on the YouTube. And next week is our community hour. It's not on a Thursday like it normally is. The community hour, pulling up the alerts real quick. This month is going to be on Wednesday, March 25th at 7 p.m. EST. If you want to see us there next week, there will not be an office hours next week because I am busy on Thursday. Thank you guys so much. I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.